and welcome back to another episode of OHKO, a Pokemon VGC podcast. The Pokemon Presents is right around the corner, or I guess if you're from the future, it already happened, and oh my gosh, it was so cool, but not for real. We're really excited for it, and we're going to dive into all of our predictions and what we expect coming out of the 25-minute long presentation. My name is Sierra Dawn. I'll be your host today, joined here by my co-host, Joe Brown. 30th anniversary, Pokemon Day, announcements, a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Dare I say, Sierra, this might be the most exciting Pokemon Direct that we ever get, or the most excited, I should say. I should personalize it. The most excited I have ever been for a Pokemon Day Direct, because it's the 30th anniversary. There are literally so many things that we hope to be there that we'll talk about. There are probably going to be things that are out of left field. We had no idea were even in development that are going to be there. Like, I cannot wait for Friday.
Yeah, I think I said 25 minutes in the intro. It was somewhere along those lines for how long this Presents is going to be, which is crazy, right? There's a lot of information you can pack in 25 minutes. I think if some people are unhappy about the time, you got to remember this is just for news and upcoming stuff. 25 minutes is crazy. But before we dive into predictions, already something did come out of what to expect. Anyone want a little trip back to Kanto? A little Pokemon FireRed or LeafGreen? That has already been on the eShop. Pokemon has announced it, but they're bringing those games out, and not part of one of those like subscription service either. $20 eShop, game is yours. Are you excited to go back to Kanto, or how are you feeling about the game?
Oh, 100%. I'm very excited because not just for what FireRed and LeafGreen, being able to play those games again, but for what this decision represents from Game Freak and Nintendo, right? Like, it feels like pulling teeth constantly to give Game Freak ideas to make more money. Like, we're always telling them, please put the games on the shop, and they just don't comprehend that they're going to make boatloads of money if they do this. So, like, they did it kind of on the 3DS, right, with the original Gen 1, and then Gen 2 came on a little bit later. And now that we have FireRed and LeafGreen, like, does this mean we're going to get the other games as well? What are their price points going to be at? Like, I can't imagine they'll be too much more expensive, because they were handheld games that were releasing for either $35 or $45 or $40. I think like most of 3DS games, or the DS games at least, I want to say, were $40. So, like, I can't imagine it would cost $60 in the eShop or something like that. So I think not only for this game, I'm excited, Sierra, but for the future of what this represents for the chances of the other Pokemon games being added to Nintendo Switch is exciting.
I think that's where I want to start with that, because I feel like this will be a pretty short part of the conversation, but like what this can mean for the future. Because I feel like every Pokemon Presents, or anytime Pokemon announces news, I'm sitting here and I'm like, old games on the eShop, please take my money. Why do you hate money? Like, every single time without fail. And I feel like every single time I'm disappointed, because I feel like it was such a good idea for the 3DS. It just makes so much sense. Why are we just not doing that now? So when I saw the announcement, other than the fact that I wish it was a different game, when I saw the announcement, I was really excited for what this could mean, because now they showed that they are willing to. It's different than the Nintendo Switch Online services where you can have the Coliseum, Pokemon Stadium, etc. Like, this is the actual game. Like, I'm hoping, this is, I guess, like my first prediction, but also in line with the subject. I'm hoping that this is part of like a year-long initiative of bringing out the different games. Start with FireRed, LeafGreen. Maybe in a couple of months we get a little Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and like kind of see where you go from there. I don't know what we're gonna do with the games where there's two screens. I'm sure they could figure out dual screen it, whatever. The Nintendo Switch screen's certainly long enough. But then, I don't know. We could just bring all the games out. A little Pokemon Black, Pokemon White. Like, I feel like it could be really cool to like build it up throughout the year and bring out all the old games.
No, I mean, I would be super, super stoked if they did that. I thought when you were saying you thought it'd be another game, I thought, because a lot of people were saying, like, why not Ruby and Sapphire as the first games? And so that's where I thought you were going, instead of the Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Those are the ones I want. When I say like, I wish it was a different game other than FireRed, LeafGreen, I wish it was Ruby, Sapphire, like Sapphire, Emerald, like specifically Emerald, because I had more. Like, those are the games that I want. But this could mean so much more, It could be all the games.
Right. But I think it makes sense to do the Fire Relief because of the Kanto bias, and they just opened Kanto Park in Japan, and it's the 30th anniversary of Kanto. So like, even if it's not what people wanted, if they'd rather it be Gen 3 is available, like it's just like from a marketing perspective, right? Even Pokopia it's got all the Gen 1 Pokemon in it, which is coming out next week as well. It makes too much sense to start with Fire Red and Leaf Green.
What they could do, though, if they want to be saucy, if they don't care about chronological order, because I said Heart Gold, Soul Silver next because Gen 1, Gen 2, going on forward, and specifically the remakes because they did the remakes. But Pokemon, I mean, this is probably just in line with the Fire Red, Leaf Green hype. They posted a picture, and it was like the title screen where it was like Pokemon 1996 to 2004. You know what else also came out in 2004? Pokemon Emerald. So there has been some speculation that Emerald maybe comes out as well, or even just announced for a later date, which would be super, super cool. It's probably just to build on the Fire Red, Leaf Green like type, but it'd be cool.
See, but to me, once Emerald comes out, then there's just like no reason. I could be wrong. People might flame me for it, but like once Emerald comes out, there's no reason to play Ruby or Sapphire again. Because like that's the finalized version. Same with Platinum, and
then just bring out Emerald. That's okay.
I'm saying, I think that if they want to be smart, we got a hole in our pocket trying to buy Pokemon games, like do Ruby and Sapphire, and then like 6 months later do Emerald. You have to buy it again,
Yeah, or like I'd also be down for that. I don't care. Like I know the whole third game in the series is gonna make you sell more, etc. But like, I don't know, if they release all three at once, I'll buy all three at once. Like I don't know. Like I feel like too, if they're looking for more money, I feel like we could have started putting these games on Switch a long time ago. Again, Game Freak, they're just allergic to our money. But like,
but what I don't know. Like, I was just saying, what does it mean the fact that this is a $20 independent purchase compared to all the other games that are a part of the Nintendo Switch Online package? Does that mean only mainline games will be purchasable and only quote unquote spin-off games will be on the NSO? Or like, are all future Pokemon games no longer going to be on NSO? They'll all be individually purchasable? Like, I don't know what this means.
Yeah, that's the next topic of discussion, because obviously we got the initial hype of Fire Red, Leaf Green. Oh my gosh. And then it's been discussion about this being that $20 purchase, because that is then $20 for a game that's old and doesn't have any updates, right? I'm personally excited. I have the older games. Like, I still have my older systems, play the older games. I am personally very okay with that. But people were saying, like, the game's not, like, adding different things, or we don't know yet, but maybe it doesn't have, like, the events and stuff. So we're just paying $20 for an old game ported onto the Switch, right? So I want to know then your thoughts on that, because I was personally more excited about the $20 purchase as comparison to the Nintendo Switch Online, because I would just like to have the game,
Yeah, I think I understand where people are coming from if they don't like the price point. Because if you go back to the olden Nintendo like online days, like the Wii Shop Wednesday memes and whatever, right? Where a lot of those old games would cost like $5 or $8 if it was a real premier old Super Nintendo game that you were just buying the digital version of. And like, how many times do people buy the first Mario Brothers game for $5, like on every single platform that you could get it on? So they feel as if 20 is a lot, but like, I really don't think it is, especially when you see the lack of accessibility that Pokemon games have had on playing in an official capacity, right? Like, that's been the huge hurdle that we've faced for 20 years at this point, that like, I really don't think 20 is that bad of a price point. We would have to go back and see how much the original games cost on the Game Boy Advance, and scale it with with like how much that money would be worth today. And like, then I would say like the 20 is really not that bad, especially when you might be paying, or like you are paying $70 for the future installments of Pokemon games.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting discussion between just like the price of games and like what we feel is owed to us as consumers. Like, it would have been nice if they released them for $5, $10. Like, I'm not gonna lie, right? But I feel like 20 personally is okay. If they were doing 25, 30, 40, I would be stretching it. I think that would then start towing the line into being a little bit greedy, right? But I think for the amount of time that I would put into the game, what I'm willing to pay $20 for, if you look at like my Steam library or like even just random games that I picked up on the eShop because I thought they've looked interesting for a Pokemon game that I would enjoy and to actually have on my Switch, like I don't know, like it's within the realm of possibility for me. You don't need to buy both. You can only buy one if you want. And I think I'm okay with it. I was actually kind of surprised to see that it was a major point of contention or people thinking it should be cheaper because in my eyes, even if it's an old game, you're still receiving a game to buy and play and consume, even if it is an older game.
Right, and a lot of gamers bring up like the hours per dollar spent value in video gaming today, right? Like where they're like, oh, if this game's only 5 hours to beat and it costs $70, that's so bad. But if I play it for 100 hours and it costs 70, you get more bang for your buck. Not that you play, the remix for 100 hours unless you're shiny hunting or something like that.
I ask me in 6 months. I'll probably put 100. Considering like I've maxed out the timers on like the Switch games, like the 999, probably will put 100 hours.
So the amount of value you're going to get per dollar spent, whatever that conversion rate, I think is very strong at $20. And I know a lot of people have been using. I don't like this argument that people use that like, oh, on the secondary market, buying the old games is like $150 on eBay or whatever. It's like if you're only paying $20, that's so much better. It's like. But it costs $150 because Pokemon hasn't given you a way to play the game actually in 20 years. So this is a cyclical thing, you know what I mean? Like, we saw with Fire Emblem when Path of Radiance dropped on Nintendo Switch. Those were copies of that game on the GameCube were going for like $200 and $250. And now that you don't need to pay these quote unquote scalpers, whatever you want to call them, like these old school taxes, let's say, the accessibility tax. Now you can play on NSO, like the people that are charging for it are charging a little bit less because like one of the appeals to that price point was how scarce it was or how inaccessible it was to play. Now we don't have that problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I would be considering the aftermarket price of the games in general because I have been trying to get more of them, not even for some people just get them for collecting purposes, which is valid. I'm not really a collector. I get the games so I can play them, right? And like, oh my gosh, it was a struggle and a half to find a copy of Pokemon Emerald that was legit and not $1.5 million, right? There's so many fakes going around. There's just the crazy market because of the fact that they're old and we haven't had a way to like replay these games. So like if what we need to do is to disrupt that market is $20 games on the eShop, I'm all for it. $20, it's not a collector piece. That is a video game for you to sit down and play. And even on a fast run through of Pokemon, like for $20, that's like what, $2 an hour to beat the Elite Four? Like that's still good, right? Like
and think about the ribbons or the names or whatever, like because you're going to be able to, like, I don't know if this has home. I didn't read if it has home connectivity or something.
I'll search it up. But I think that was one of the things.
I think that is one of the selling points is like you can shiny hunt your whatever Pokemon you wanted from FireRed and LeafGreen and like spend all the hours and do it the old way, the way that the good old days of shiny hunters did with 5,000 resets or whatever. And you bring that in and you get the ribbons from Gen 3 and you have that Pokemon show up in Pokemon Champions, let's say, with the special icons and things. Like I think there can be some really cool flexes that the shiny hunters and the mark hunters or whatever can show off with.
I don't think that there's supposed to be too many marks for FireRed LeafGreen. I feel like that's one of the generations that don't have much. I'm not really a big marks person, but I think someone else was saying that there was only like one that was really like important. I think it's generation 2 and up that more so have a lot more of these marks than everything else. I think like yeah, with like contests and stuff, all that kind of changes. For home compatibility, what I'm seeing is that it was originally in the eShop description and got taken out. Whether that means there is not going to be any compatibility whatsoever, or if it's going to be like with our main like line games nowadays where it's just not on launch and we get it later. I'm not sure. Whether they're still workshopping what they want to do, that's another thing. I do think I would still pay the $20 for the game if there's no home connectivity, but I do think that it is a really big miss if we don't, because I don't think that you would be able to trade up or get the Pokemon from this game to a main series game, because I don't know what the trading would look like. At least stuff with the 3DS with the old games, it did have Pokemon Bank connectivity, so you could be moving stuff up. But this, my understanding is if there is no home connectivity, it would just be stuck, which certainly would suck.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hopeful. I'm gonna be optimistic since it seems like Pokemon Home is always like the last hurdle to know like what the next Pokemon game is coming out, because they're always like, okay, we got you in 2 months. Like, you know what I mean? It's never like Pokemon Home like right away is helping you get across the with the new game. So consistently we have eventually home support, I would imagine, or I'll be optimistic and say like hopefully eventually we do get home support.
I mean, the other thing with this game that there has been a lot of criticism for, which makes sense, is what they've said for the online trading. So we're in an era where we can be just trading things via the internet, etc. But specifically for FireRed and LeafGreen, it is local play only. So you got to sit there next to someone who also has the game if you want to do any trades, which I don't know. I'm intrigued about it because as I'm thinking of FireRed, LeafGreen, limited Pokedex, etc., as of this moment, I personally don't feel too impacted from start. But I also am then remembering that like I'm in the very fortunate position where I go to a Pokemon event once or twice a month. I will be around other people with the game that I can do a local trade with. And this is very much so something targeted towards people that don't have that then they won't be able to trade, specifically when there's trade evolutions or version exclusives, which really sucks.
Yeah, I think the people that are frustrated with the price point, but then are then in addition frustrated that there's no online trade capability, is like, well, if you want one, you're going to have to increase the other, because at right now Pokemon is doing as little of a bare bones, port as they can to keep the price down, and to the like you could trade next to each other like you could back in the day. So that's how they kept the system. If you want them to create new elements that didn't exist before, that's going to take more effort. It's going to take more work, and that is absolutely going to increase the price point on it. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like if you want modern features, you're going to have to pay more, closer to a modern price, right?
Yeah, especially too, it's not like there was online play for that era. That was a
Right.
later thing, right? So I understand. I would like if we do get more game releases at the point where we did have online compatibility and the online trade and stuff. I would like those games to be able to keep that because we do have like the technology for it. But I do think it makes sense as to why it's not in this game. But I definitely do feel bad for those that actually do think that their gaming is going to be impacted by that. Like I get when these games released back in 2004, like that was a very okay thing because that was the world then. But also in 2026, I can understand why people are going to be upset about no online compatibility, even if it did mean asking more out of a company that was looking to maybe just ship the game in its original state, right? Like,
Yeah, I think it's baby steps with Game Freak. Like we prayed, we pleaded for so long to get these games. Like we can't be shooting for the stars. We gotta like, okay, one step at a time. Now that we have maybe a future installation could have some online things. Like let's take a breath, team.
yeah, this is a good starting step, and I am hoping that we get more. And as we get into the other games, there will be games with online play, and if they have online play and all of the games have home connectivity, I myself will be a happy camper, but what else do we think? 25-minute presentation. We already have FireRed, LeafGreen coming to Switch, so maybe they'll touch on that in the presentation. But other than that, we have 25 minutes to speculate about for what we think. Do we just which band-aid do we rip first? Because I feel like there's a couple different band-aids we could.
That's what I was going to say. I've been waiting all day to ask you this question, Sierra, because we know nothing about Generation 10, but it has been 4 years of Scarlet and Violet, right? Essentially, not literally, but you know what I mean. So, should we be more excited, presumably if there's Gen 10 information, should we be more excited about Generation 10, or should we be more excited about Pokemon Champions?
So, Pokemon Champions announced at Worlds. We will be playing it at Next World. We will be playing it at San Francisco. So, at this point, with the presents on Friday, I'm more excited about Gen 10, personally. Am I sitting here like, oh, I want to hear something about Champions so bad? Yes. But it's a known quantity, right? Like at the end of the day ends. At the end of all of this, we are getting Champions at some point before Worlds. Or else I feel like we probably would have heard by now or like soon if something has happened and we don't get it for Worlds, right? But like as of what we know, our Worlds will be on Champions. Therefore, Champions comes out at some point within the next 6 months. Generation 10, it's only been speculation, right? It makes sense with the time frame that this would be the time to announce it. But yeah, that is what I'm most excited for, because that is going to be, of course, then everything for, even if we're not playing VGC on the mainline titles anymore, that's still going to be our Pokemon. That's still going to be our next 4 years of Pokemon. So like that's what I'm waiting for.
I think you are probably correct. I think it's the correct stance to be more excited for Gen 10 news than Champions. However, because we have been waiting so long for Champions, and it's like, Dad gave us a specific toy just for us to play with, not for the rest of the family, right? Like just for the competitive world of Pokemon. I am more excited for Champions news. Especially because if we're going to be playing on Champions, we're not playing on whatever Gen 10 is, right? I love Pokemon. I'm always excited for the reveal cycles. I think Pokemon does a great job marketing it, and I can't wait to see what they announce. But to me, there are still so many questions about Pokemon Champions, and we are so close because it's February, but end of February, and Worlds is in August. That we need answers more pertinent on Champions right now than Gen 10 if we presume Gen 10 is going to be at the end of the year.
I mean, those are two really big Band-Aids, but since it is a VGC podcast, we can rip the Pokemon Champions Band-Aid first. Okay. Because I feel like on Friday, there has to be something, right? And there's a couple of different things going around. First, there's talks about a shadow drop. I feel like I've been bringing up on the podcast for any monumental time that they could just shadow drop it. Like, I was even thinking at Worlds they could have. Like, I swear me and Lee had like an hour and a half long conversation the Monday before Worlds about how cool it would be if they shadow dropped Champions at Worlds. Like, obviously, not happening, but like, it is what it is. But a shadow drop people have been talking about the 27th release date is what people are also asking for, just knowing if we should be excited sooner rather than later. I'm hoping we get some footage and like some answers as to what this game is, because all we kind of know is that it's a battling sim. That's it. Is there a single player mode? Are we going to have different formats? Is there cosmetics? Is like, what's the money situation like? Like any of those answers.
Yeah, I don't know where I will be emotionally if we do not get a release date. I actually don't know if I'll ever be able to recover, because I will be so furious that because it's so close and there's so we don't know how. Obviously, it's not going to be the day it releases. If there's a regional that day, then you're going to have you need time to prepare and stuff like there's so many moving parts to Champions on the end of our season or on our circuit for this season that I just need to know when. I need to know when it's coming out more than I actually care about the other like aspects that you brought up, like other single player experiences, other things. I think the release date is more important than the game at this point.
See, I mean, I do feel very similar because like I keep like wanting to just dive more into VGC, and I don't like this current regulation at all. Actually, very much so the opposite. So then it's like, man, I want to play VGC so bad. I want to nerd out about it. I want to make all of these fun teams. I want to do all this fun stuff, but I just don't like where we're at with the game right now. So like, I'm just waiting for Champions because like that's where I can have that space. So like, I feel like we have to, right? We have to get a release date, right?
Yeah, I really,
Right?
I'll be
Like, we
beside
have
myself
to.
if we don't. I don't think we're gonna get a shadow drop just because like Pokemon doesn't really, they don't shadow drop games that often, like because they're so good at the marketing of it. Like even FireRed and LeafGreen, that would have been a perfectly normal in like other companies, you know, direct videos to just say, by the way, FireRed and LeafGreen, that's on Nintendo eShop right now. Like Pokemon didn't do that. They announced a week before their 30th anniversary that, by the way, on February 28th or whatever it is, you can buy FireRed and LeafGreen, right? So
Do
like,
we think that was intentional though, or like a byproduct of leaks coming out? Because it was before Pokemon had announced, like things kind of went up on the eShop, like people were talking about it releasing. Like, do we actually think that they plan to release information and stuff a week before, or like was that maybe supposed to be a shadow drop that they just adapted to?
I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I mean, I do think that it feels like there are a lot of leaks, so a lot of times that they don't ever address, right? So
Well, I
like,
mean, the Worlds leak when San Fran Worlds, they
right,
announced at Honolulu, they announced Anaheim and San Francisco at the same time because it leaked, right? So
right.
like they do sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I would not. I would be optimistically surprised if we got a shadow drop. Like, I think going in as fans, we should expect to get a release date and be excited about a release date, and then be overwhelmingly surprised if it actually did shadow drop.
I will say I was really hyped about the possibility of a shadow drop until the FireRed LeafGreen thing was announced that it was coming out the 27th. As soon as that hit, they're not releasing two independent games on the same day. Like they're not. So I was
and Pokopia releasing the next week.
a week after. Yeah. Like I was like, oh, Pokopia like releasing a week after, but we could still get champions on Pokemon Day. Or like, you know what? I can see that. But with FireRed LeafGreen, that's just too much in too short of a time. So I've given up hope of a shadow drop, but a release date, I'd be so happy. But I would really like footage because like the release date is a must, or you need that. But like I want to know anything else that's going on too, right? Like this is going to be the future of our game. Like I want to know, like, am I going to buy silly little hats for my Pikachu? Like, do we get to build out? Is there going to be multiple regulations? Can we build out our own? Like that would also be really, really cool. Like I want that sort of information too. So I can just start like mentally preparing.
Yeah, we need more information on our trainer or our avatar and if there are customizable things. And I think it's funny, like sometimes people don't care when you and I talk about this, like how excited we get about like battle music packs and like outfits and backgrounds and things. But like these are the way that they're going to make money off of it. Like so I think they should show off. Like I don't know if the Pokemon are gonna have outfits. Like I don't think Incineroar is gonna have like a tuxedo skin or something
No
like
little
that.
cowboy hat
Like,
for the Incineroar?
because even Pokemon Unite is weird, right? They're wearing hollow wear, like they're not actually wearing clothes. They're wearing digital versions of what looks like clothes on their body. Like and like also you're gonna spend money on Incineroar, but then he might not be on your team. And then like, are they gonna make skins for like Nidoking or whatever? Like you know what I mean? It might just be too difficult of a thing. But you could easily come up with 10 different hats, 10 different dresses, 10 different throwing animations and stuff like that. So like I think maybe we're asking for too much, but I also feel like we're asking for very reasonable information for them to be giving us.
Yeah, I would just like thing is like we've just gotten no information. That's the thing, is there has been nothing at all about this game. So like at this point, I just want any information on, like, I just hope it's not bad information, but like I would take anything at this point. I feel like that's like kind of the state of desperation that I've hit, is like I just want to know anything. So that's kind of where we are, state of champions wise. Release date, please. Footage, please. Shadow drop, probably not happening. Gen 10, let's talk about that, because that one, yeah, they can show literally anything tomorrow. I feel like if there is a Gen 10, starters, titles, a little bit of gameplay footage.
Yeah,
no release except for a late 2026 type thing.
Yeah, I think they probably just say late 2026. At this point, we need it, right? Like, we took an extra year cycle out of the norm for this, and who knows if that was like a whatever internal reasons, or was that like a Switch 2 crossover trying to get the technology to work, or we have no idea why Game Freak decided to make that decision. But like, this has now given us an additional year's worth of anticipation that other generations do not have to go to. There's also like the OCD. This is the 10th generation releasing the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, right? Like, there is a lot of significance of what's going on with this release. So where like Scarlet and Violet was the second Switch game, and like, it's a kind of like, it just released DLC the same way that Sword and Shield released DLC. So like, I think a lot of people are expecting with Legends ZA and Legends Arceus, like, I think people are expecting a different game than what we've gotten for the first 9 generations and whatever it is. So like, even if like, I think if they just show us the 3 starters and a release date and the names, I feel like that's not enough. Like, they have to let us know, is this traditional Pokemon? Or is it going to be fully? Is it going to take what Scarlet and Violet did and to amp it up to 11, or is it going to go back to more traditional setting?
I mean, I feel like it'll be Scarlet and Violet like ramped up personally, but I do think that is an interesting conversation, because I know I've been talking with friends and we've been talking about what we think the battling system is going to look like in the main like series games, and if maybe it was because they wanted to change a battling system as to why we got Pokemon Champions in the first place, right? And I think that is actually a really interesting conversation for how we're looking at Generation 10, because obviously what has worked, right? They have in each generation changed things up just a little bit. And of course, something like the open world concept is the most that they've changed within this main like series games. But I still look at stuff like the battling and like, sure, it's open world, but like if you're taking off left right away, you're going to be paired up against level 50 Pokemon. So like, I really don't feel it's as open world as it open world could be. There's clearly areas you're not supposed to be at. You can go ahead. You're not going to have a great time. Like, go ahead. Like, I struggled, but I surely went there. But it was still, as much it was a revolutionary, we have open world, at the end of it, it was still the same type of game, right? So like, I don't know, I kind of anticipate going on forward, we're still going to get that, because they can be doing their spin-offs, still a main series of like the Legends Arceus, Legends ZA, right? But people are thinking maybe we do get a different battle system because of the success of the other series.
Yeah, I think that's the like really, I don't want to say scary thing, because like, change is scary, right? We're used to the same battle system for 29 years at this point, like, but that is the interesting dilemma that they're in, because as the graphics increase and as they throw 40 Pokemon on screen at once, when before you just had to walk in the grass and they would have an animation and one Pokemon showed up at a time, and they're all moving, and your opponents are like the other NPCs are all moving, like the more real world, like for lack of a better word, like the better the technology gets in the Pokemon world, the less likely it is, or the more that just everything stops in a dime, and it's a single battle and it's turn based, like fits into the world. You know what I mean? Like the way, even if people complain about Legends Arceus and ZA's battle system, like those more fluid interactions of you like just being able to change your Pokemon and not waiting your turn and like moving around and stuff like that, like that is fitting the animations and the world that Pokemon are creating better now than just the simple turn-based system that we all know and love. And I think, as you said, there has to be a reason that they're making Champions its own thing. So like, because no one was complaining that we were playing, like, we were just playing Pokemon on Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like, everyone said it'd be cool to have our own thing, but like, it was not really this like huge thing that was holding us back or whatever, right? So like, there has to be a reason that there's a competitive Pokemon will be played on this platform. Therefore, regular Pokemon will be different.
I mean, I don't think necessarily that Pokemon Champions is indication that they are changing the battle system. I think it's a theory, and it very well could be true. But I do think, in contrast to you saying like, oh, we haven't needed this or like asked for it, I feel like we kind of actually have needed it. Like, I think back to the break in, what was it, 23? No, after 22?
22, yeah.
22, where there's the 4-month break because it was waiting for the new games. And so there was no VGC. Simple. And like, we're tied so much to the game cycle that Scarlet and Violet have been going on for another year, which I really don't think within video game development is too bad of a thing. But when there is an entire competitive circuit dedicated to it that now is like we're grasping at straws. Like, I love the idea that they gave us a poll to vote for what regulation we want, but when the poll is Reg I, Reg F, Reg C. We haven't had Reg C in years. It feels like grasping at straws to what will make the player base happy while we hold them over, because we didn't have anything else, right? Like, we didn't. Regulation I, the double like restricted, was that big buildup. That's always the big buildup that we get in VGC. And after we had that, we just had nowhere else to go. So we're stuck on the same game with these same Pokemon. What else can we do? Because we can't get any bigger or better from there, right? So I think Champions was really necessary within that, because now we don't have to worry about the game cycle. They can do whatever formats they want. And I think that's going to be a really, really fun time. But I'd be intrigued if it does indicate anything changing. I really hope nothing does change. I mean, maybe it's a boomer take, but like, I look at other RPGs that still go within a turn-based battle system, and I think it's fine, right? I think maybe how we enter the battles could change. I think that there's a lot of things about the world that could change, but like, I really liked Legends ZA. I did not like the battle system. That's actually the worst part of the game for me. I liked everything but the battle system. And people praised the battle system so much. And I would love to know how many people genuinely play Legend ZA for the battles now in comparison to who plays Scarlet and Violet or VGC battles. Because the thing is I feel like it was a fun gimmick, but it doesn't have the longevity. And if we go into the mainline series games going on forward, having that gimmick, I think that I would enjoy those games a lot less than how I do now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. Like, I don't think they're getting rid of turn-based, like, just to clarify. Like, I think the game will still be turn-based. Like, it will not go forward if you're in a battle unless you press your buttons. But, like, I do think that there is a chance that the additional things change. Like, maybe you are able to move your camera around, or maybe you are able to move your trainer around in a battle or something like that, while it still will say the same. Like, I think they have to do something to match the graphics update that Pokemon has had over the last decade. They have to bring the gameplay somewhere up to that, realization of like the world is fluidly moving and the other Gyarados in the lake are also moving, but you in your battle, you're just not like, there still is like some weird visuals with how the presentation of the game is now that I do think Gen 10 is going to tackle.
I mean, that doesn't really impact the battling though. It just like how it looks, right? So like, I feel like that's all fine. Whatever way they want to change things up aesthetically, heck yeah, give it. A roaming camera would be so cool. I would love that. Yeah. Imagine like the battle shots you could take. YouTube content creation and like YouTube thumbnails would go crazy if you could like switch around the camera and actually have it front facing a Pokemon on your team as it's about to do a move. I think they should even just have that in Champions or with any like mainline thing, right? Like that just seems awesome. But yeah, like I'd be down for all of that stuff, just not actually changing the system itself.
Yeah.
I don't like change.
No.
Not that type of change anyways. But I mean, for Gen 10 otherwise, like, do we think we're getting starters? Like, how much do we think we're getting in Gen 10?
Sure. 100% we're getting... Yeah, and again, I'll just be disappointed. Same as like I'll be disappointed if there's no Champions release date. I'll be disappointed if we don't get starters because we've had to wait 13 additional months for these starters than normal. You know what I mean? Like the Pokemon is they change their formula up, but with the marketing, but they do have a pretty consistent formula. Like I think X and Y, they revealed the first line in January, and then other ones where like Sun and Moon might have been February, or like maybe a different game was March or something. Like they're generally the first quarter of the year for that late holiday window that the game's released in. So like I would truly be shocked beyond belief if we are at the end of February in an additional 12 months later than they were supposed to be revealed typically to not see the 3 starters.
All right, so starters, information about the game, obviously the titles of the game, that's just a given. Yeah. A glimpse of the legendary Pokemon, not much, but a glimpse. They gotta like
we're gonna have to see the cover art and stuff.
Yeah, they gotta oh yeah, I guess like full cover art. I was thinking just like a little animation, like it'll probably be like the cover art, and then before we move on to the next thing, they'll do, I'm telling you the whole commercial here.
Okay.
Like, do the whole commercial. Wow, we're gonna have like the scenic, blah blah blah. Yo, this going on, a trainer battle. Whoa, trainer throws out this random rodent-looking Pokemon or bird-looking Pokemon, and then you're like, oh my god, this is Generation 10 because I've never seen that rodent or bird Pokemon ever before. And they show more of that, and then this trainer who looks like they're going to be a little bit more decorated than anyone else, so obviously like there's something going on within the series, throws out a Pokeball. What comes out? 3 different things on the screen. Starter. Oh my god. Single point starter name, single point starter name, single point starter name. A little bit more of that. Oh my gosh. Something bad's happening as we're seeing the world. Ooh, get to see your character, main character. Wow. Title screen, cover art, title screen, cover art. Then, ominous. Screen, quiet. Get a wrestling in like a bush or a cave or something. A glimpse of like that 3rd legendary Pokemon. Done. Then they go to, that was our preview of Pokemon blah and Pokemon blah. This is going to be our next generation of games. Done. That is the entire thing that's happening on the Presents. I'm telling it right now.
I can't believe Sierra leaked the entire video.
The entire Presents.
That's why it's 25 minutes long, because that's the long, it's a super long trailer there.
I wonder how accurate I was after the fact.
We'll find out. Yeah, someone in the Discord will keep us accurate to our predictions. You know what? Important question here. I'm just throwing it out here. Is the professor going to be hot? Because they're on kind of a streak. They're on like a multi-generation streak. You go from Juniper up, right? Everyone like Sycamore. Kukui was a handsome dude with big abs. What was her name? Sonia or whatever. Both of our parents in Scarlet and Violet. Let's be honest, Sierra. You know what I mean? Are we getting a hot professor or not?
I mean, if the trend says, they
gotta market the professor's game. Research Altarts. I don't know. They gotta
market the game somehow, I guess, right? Like, I don't know. This is not really like I play Pokemon for the Pokemon, not for the professors.
I'm just saying.
I'm just never paying attention.
Cool, there's good professors research. Altart cards money to be made here.
There's money. That's money. They're not leaving that money on the table. That's all right. The Gen 10 starters, names, hot professors, all coming out on Friday.
Heard it here first.
All right. What else coming out from the Presents? Again, 25 minutes. It's so interesting trying to predict for the Presents, because the thing is I feel like a lot of people overpredict and then are disappointed because they don't live up to your expectations. It's 30th anniversary. We're gonna overpredict, and like if we get any of them right, it'd be awesome. I was thinking what could be really, really cool, and maybe we're pushing for a little too many Pokemon games right now. So I can see this not being a thing with that. But I would love one of the above. 3 options. A new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It's been a while since we've had one of those. That would be really cool. Pokemon Stadium 3. Wouldn't that just be so cool? Or, because what's the best part of Pokemon Stadium is the mini games, and the regular part of Pokemon Stadium is going to be probably pretty close to Champions.
Pretty close to
Why
Champions,
not a Pokemon spinoff that is like Mario Party, but Pokemon mini games? If you have not played the Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 mini games, you're missing out. Like, I have my Nintendo 64, so I can play on the OG with that. Like, that is the best. So I'm hoping, like, it's not happening. But my dream wish would be Pokemon Party. Woo!
Pokemon Party, a Poke Party, yeah.
Poke Party, yeah. Wouldn't that just be like all the mini games, more mini games, like more elaborate, like mode?
But that's the thing. Not even just the old mini games. Like they're designers. They come up with something.
We got 1,000 Pokemon. Let's get a new game. Yeah,
exactly.
Let's get a new one.
Like have like a Golden Go surfing mini game or something.
Like get a dedicated game that's more built out for like these mini games and have like little story about it, all of that stuff. Like, yeah,
100%. I'm down for that. I don't know if it's gonna happen because they could have done it at any point in the last 25 years.
Or do anything like that, it'll be in June. I think we're getting too many games for tomorrow, but like that would be a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I would love that. I love that. Listen, I'm not to toot my own horn. I'm undefeated in egg Chansey catching on stream. I beat Shelby in I forget what regional we were at. It was one of our downtime segments where Len was casting me versus Shelby in the Chansey mini game. He was like a golf broadcaster too. He was like super quiet and stuff.
It's like you guys are just going crazy.
It was so funny. I think the thing that I want the most that we don't like have an inkling of, right? We expect Champions, we expect Gen 10, we expect like FireRed and LeafGreen, whatever. Is the thing I want the most is a new Pokemon movie. And I don't know if I'm willing to commit to if it's live action or animated, because like, to be honest, I don't care either way. I want a new Pokemon movie at this point. So like that would be one thing I'd like to predict for Friday, like is they show off like it doesn't have to be some, Ash and whatever remake again with 30th anniversary, whatever. Like even if it's about like, I don't know, trying to think, because we don't have those animated movies as often as we used to, right? We used to get them pretty consistently with new legendaries, with new mythicals, and then like we have not really had them as consistently. I think what was it, Zeraora and Marshadow were the last ones to be in a movie. Like so, like I think it'd be cool if we have some standalone Scarlet and Violet movie or standalone Sword and Shield movie about Zamazenta and Zacian or whatever.
See, I'm not too big on the new animated movies. I would love if they did another live action, though. I thought Detective Pikachu was peak. Like,
yes,
it was just the best. And seeing Pokemon, like, quote unquote, be real was really cool, right? Like to see like how it was in like this real world. I loved whether it's a sequel to Detective Pikachu or just a different type of live action. I would love that. I'm personally not as hyped for like just like a regular animated movie, but like I hope that you get that. But like if we got a movie and it was a live action, I would be freaking out. Like that would be so cool.
That would be sick. It'd
be the best. There's so many different ways they could do that. Oh my gosh. All right. Another thing that's actually really relevant to VGC that I guess we didn't really talk about, I think that there is a strong possibility of getting our world's theming for the presents.
Yes, that's a great point to bring up, because like I think not just because they have like kind of consistently shown off worlds and on the Pokemon Day Direct every year, but because it's the 30th anniversary and we have the Pokemon XP, right? The experience thing, and it's taken over all, like, it's going to be a part of different areas. It's not just like one building or whatever. It's like going to be, traveling around the whole city and stuff. Like, I do think a hopefully a healthy chunk of this 25 minutes is going to be dedicated to Pokemon Worlds. And my prediction, Steph Curry's going to be in the video, because Championship Sunday is played at the Oracle Arena, right? Like we had like the janitor turn the lights on or whatever at Worlds to show it to on the big jumbotron or whatever to show that Worlds was happening at the arena. Like, wouldn't it be sick if Steph Curry comes out and he like announces like something for Pokemon experience.
Hold. I need to get into marketing for Pokemon. Imagine this, right?
Okay.
You get the stadium, and it's like all done out like it would just be like a basketball, right? And then you see him like illuminates, back turn, throws a basketball, and then it cuts, it's spinning, turns into a Pokeball. Pokemon comes out, hits the field, goes back to his stadium full shot, and it's now transformed into a Pokemon stadium. I need to work for marketing. Isn't that just like hate?
Why do they not keep? They continue to not keep hiring us, but we keep coming up with banger ideas.
Right? Man, I'm cooking. That's
now for a minute. I thought you were gonna once you said he turned around and turned into a basketball. I thought you were gonna say they were gonna make a basketball Pokemon game. That's what I thought.
No.
I was like, wait, what? How's Wobbuffet gonna dribble? Like, I'm trying to think, how that's gonna work out. But
yeah, because that could be like the transformation of the stadium into like what is going to be the Pokemon Stadium, because that is going to be the biggest arena for Worlds. Like we had an arena last year. This arena is going to be crazier. Like, yeah. You show a little of the theming. I don't know. I'm just saying, marketing. If you're listening to this, feel free. By the way, like I will write down whatever release, so you don't even like have to pay me for this, because I know sometimes like fan ideas can't get used for like monetary. I will sign whatever to sign the rights away. Like I'm just throwing that out there, marketing. Feel free.
Listen, let's tell you, if they haven't finalized the final edit of the video by now, and they're listening to us, and they're like,
well, maybe they don't announce something tomorrow. What if it's down the line, right? Like I'm just saying. True. Like my Twitter is SierraDawnX3. My email is in the bio. Feel free. Like I said, I will sign away the rights. So you're good. You're good. Yeah, I got you. But
do you think I'm crazy about Steph Curry or no?
No, that would be sick.
Yeah.
They've been doing more collabs. Like considering their 30th anniversary, who's your favorite?
That was all celebrities. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that we could. That would be super, super cool. But I think for real, a little bit more information about XP would be so nice, because that is just a relatively big unknown. And then Worlds theming in general. See the Worlds Pikachu. I feel like with 30th anniversary, they have XP going on and everything else. Like I feel like they have to ham up the World Championships just a little bit, right?
Yeah. Like, oh, dude. All right, that's going to be our prediction. What is the World's Pikachu? Because the last time it was like the little train conductor guy for San Francisco, right? Because of the trolley things.
I don't even know anything about San Francisco, honestly. San Francisco things.
Things.
Like,
could it be as simple as Pikachu holding a 30 or something for the 30th anniversary?
I was gonna say, like, I could see this year out of any year going away from a location-specific theming as opposed to just doing a celebration theming, right? Like, I don't know if they would want to do something as, like, simple as, like, sparklers, party hats, etc. But, like, I could see it being very, like, I don't know, like a competition base, or, like, a Pikachu with the trophy or gold, or, like, something about like 30th anniversary, or like the fact that this is going to be such a big world, right?
And since they did make brand new, image of every single Pokemon ever created next to a 30, right? They had that whole list everyone was posting in Discord of every Pokemon with the 30th anniversary logo. Like I think that could be a possibility.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about San Francisco where I think it would be theming. It's like, ooh, here's this old prison. Okay, like I don't.
Put Pikachu in
personal
clothes.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't really see much here. It's like this stuff, like it's like, oh, here's the Golden Gate Bridge, but it's like, why are you gonna do that with Pikachu? Like, I just like,
He's just holding the Golden Gate Bridge,
Yeah. Like,
but they got smart people on the case. They'll figure it out.
It's true. They'll figure it out. Marketing, I can't help you with this one here. I'm out. But yeah, so information about Worlds 100%. I also think like, and people hate when these are in the presents normally, unless it's your game, in which case it's awesome. But like, there's going to be some news about Masters. There's going to be a Cafe Remix event that's going to be happening. probably something about Pokemon Go. Like, I'm sure there'll be like a something like 30th anniversary Pikachu or something. Could be cute,
Yeah.
right? As well, maybe announcing a little bit of an event going on forward. What I would like to see, they had the announcement of like the Pokemon Day and like Pokemon Night or like Pokemon Nights Out or whatever that is.
Yes.
And saying that it was specifically something like, I forget what the phrasing was, but it sounded very much so like it's something meant for older fans, like not
they use it was like long time appreciation of the series. It's like just to say old, like adults. They didn't want to call it adult theming, right?
Yeah, but like,
so I think that's awesome.
Like, what is that gonna be like? Because that could be super cool. It could just be a big nothing burger, but like I feel like that's one of the first times that they've openly addressed and done something for Pokemon boomers, right? Like,
right, yeah. But they realize that's where a lot of the money is now, right? Like they opened up the Canto Park. They got all these other, like those are the adults that grew up on Pokemon that are going with their kids, right? So like you have the kids do the day thing and they have a little fun park, thing, and then maybe it's like a club in the Pokemon Night aspect of like, could you imagine they do like Pokemon Night in New Orleans? Oh my god!
See, I just like. Maybe just because I think of Pokemon being so like marketed towards kids and like all activities being kids, like I'm having personally a hard time wrapping my head around of like what this Pokemon Nights Out could mean, right? Because like in my mind, it still has to be, it won't be like meant for kids, but still kid friendly because that's still the brand, right? So like I don't know. Maybe like more music stuff. They had Glitch City did like a thing at the Go Fest or whatever it's called, Go Tour, Go Fest, whatever it is, in LA. Maybe like stuff like that to where like it was like at like later on in the event.
True,
like,
you could have more concert-based things that are not like the symphony, right? Like you could have more normal, recent artists that perform concerts at Pokemon events or something like that at nighttime.
At night, yeah. So I don't know. That's a big like. I'm curious about that, but maybe hopefully there'll be a little bit more information there. All right. Anything else from the predictions for the presents?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so tough, like, because it's 25 minutes is a lot. Like people think we're harping on it. Like even when Nintendo Direct is their own directs for the entire company, right? It might be like an hour or like 49 minutes or something like that. Like this is just Pokemon news that we're getting 25 minutes out of. So like, I'll be excited for all of it. I'm gonna have a very busy day on Friday. I'm moving the same time that I'll be watching the live stream, so it's gonna be. I'll have to stop. I have to put the boxes down for a half hour to
watch
to see, but it should be good.
I fly out. I don't know if anyone saw the Academy announcement. I fly out for Seattle Regionals this weekend. The same day the presents is, and I booked a later flight so I could not only watch the presents at home, but record my reaction to upload to YouTube as well. So I don't get to Seattle until like 7 p.m. when I normally like to try and get there early so I can like go over food and chill and vibe and stuff. But I'm dedicated, so I will be doing all that, have the reaction and everything else. So I'm excited for it. Like I feel like I've been waiting like forever for this, and like I don't know, like I feel like a lot of people, because people just expect so much. They always come off of these presents feeling like disappointed, but like unless you're expecting something too like totally crazy, I feel like everyone should probably be happy with the presents on Friday, because like I can't imagine that they're not gonna go big for this one.
Yeah, no, this is gonna even without the Champions part, which is what we're excited. Like just as a general Pokemon fan, this is obviously going to be a very significant direct that they're putting a lot of effort into. But like think about it, it's been over 6 months since we got Pokemon Champions news. We're a year delayed on our release cycle for Gen 10. Like there are so many things that are like so anticipated right now that I feel like no matter what we get, I think we're going to be pretty happy, because there's so many things that we just need information on that they're going to give us.
Yeah. So the question of the week that we have is a little bit more competitive based. So I'm curious if you're okay to postpone that, and I pose our question of the week.
I'm down.
Yeah? Because this is a little bit more theme for the episode. We've talked about what we think with what's within like the realm of the company.
Our question of the week comes from Sierra Dawn.
Oh. All right, guys, it's time for our question of the week. This time coming from none other than Sierra Dawn. Oh my gosh. You would also like to submit your questions for the question of the week. Make sure to join the Discord. We have a great community there. Can chat all about episodes, Pokemon, life, Olympic, whatever, as well as submit your questions of the week. This question is, you guys have talked about everything that you kind of expect that is within the realm of possibility. Now, what about your most outlandish dreams? What would you love, realistic or not, Pokemon to be doing?
To just announce on this stream, right? That's we have to limit to that. It's got to be.
I mean, it's what you would want the company to do, but obviously it'd be like nice if they announced it. But like in general, like because they've been doing a lot of stuff, right? Like there's video games, there's movies. They did the Kanto Park. Like, what would you want Pokemon to be doing?
Oof, that's tough. I think like a lot of the Pokemon like crossover merch things or apparel, I should say, things I don't get too excited about because like they're from companies like stores I don't really go to, or like maybe they're so expensive or whatever. Like, and I'm a sports guy, I wear a lot of sports clothing and simple things like that. Like, I would love if there was more like of a my most off the wall thing is if they made like 30 MLB Pokemon jerseys. So like assigning a Pokemon to each Major League Baseball team, like that would be the thing that would get me more excited than anything else. You have the hats, and you have like for me, I think something like in bringing sports in, because like One Piece does a lot of it too. Like they have One Piece where they have these special promo cards at like basketball games and football games and soccer games, and in baseball they did a big thing with the Dodgers last year of Luffy in a Dodgers jersey, and now that card is like $1,000 card. So like I would love if Pokemon started branching into the sports world more too.
Okay. Mine is a little like merchy related as well, but I feel like a lot of Pokemon merch in the collabs, minus the high end brands that they do, which like, bro, like I don't have money like that. Like, come on. I would love to see more collabs that are like adult fashion based, right? Like as much as I do love my World's tee from Anaheim with my Pikachu with sunglasses on it, like, bro, it's an extra large kid shirt, right? And it's like I want more things that are like a little bit more subtle, but not to the point where it's just like, oh, here's a black jacket with a tiny Pikachu logo. Like I would love for things that are more like in mind, like stylishly designed around Pokemon that don't look cheesy. It looks like something an adult can wear that is still Pokemon forward without being weird, right? Like there's Black Milk does some of it. I feel like sometimes they hit the mark, sometimes it's a little bit too like, here's just Pokemon for me. But like I would just love more collabs with major companies, like kind of within that realm. And since we do already have some apparel stuff and I'm just like asking for more, what would I like for a second thing? I wanted to say something kind of spicy, but now I'm not really thinking of anything spicy. Maybe more like actual practical like Pokemon stuff in like your home. Like
a vacuum cleaner that's like shaped like Weeping Bell or something,
All right, maybe not that, but like Le Creuset did these Le Creuset like Pokemon mugs, and like Le Creuset mugs are like really nice, and they did a series of like Pokemon ones, right, which was really cool. I would love like more things along like that sort of line. Like I don't know, I feel like that would be cool. Like a Pokemon everywhere. Nicer Pokemon jewelry would be nice. Like I don't know. I guess I'm asking for more of the same old, and I said outlandish, so I don't know.
That's what. Yeah, you need to think of something else. So like, what would
shiny
be like,
Pokemon plushies?
Dude, they would make so much money. It's actually insane.
Yeah. All right, there's my outlandish, because we don't really tend to do that. Shiny plushies. Redo all of the Sitting Cuties, but shiny.
Yes. That's what they. First of all, that's what they should have been doing this whole time when every Sitting Cutie launched on the website, was that they just had like, if they had 1 million of them, like 300 of those Gen 3 Sitting Cuties were shiny or something like that. Like that was
those prices would be crazy.
No, but from the Pokemon Center, like on the launch, not the second market. like, because you're getting it from the the right pricing on Pokemon Center.
Yeah, but people would be reselling them.
Yeah, well, okay, but I'm just saying, like,
No, just let me buy as many shinies as I want. Why are we gatekeeping shiny? Like, I like your concept. I think if we were in a non-scalping world,
yeah,
I love that idea. Unfortunately, we live in the real world and everything and anything gets scalped. Like, remember back to even like the Maridon codes that were being given out for free, and those were being scalped, right? So, like, I think that is an awesome idea. We just don't live in the right world for it. So
that's fair. That's fair.
But in a perfect world. But all right. Well, that is it for all of our predictions for the presents at the time of this airing. It'll be less than 24 hours until, so would love to hear what you think the Pokemon Presents is going to be about. If you think we're cooking, what you're cooking up, and of course, your reaction to everything else. That means next week's episode, probably going to be a lot of reacting to what has happened. It didn't line up very nicely with when we record, but sometimes that is just how life is. Regardless, if you made it to this point in this episode, thank you all so much for listening. Again, feel free to join the Discord. A lot of great Pokemon conversation happening there. And of course, to like the video, like or subscribe to the channel so you're in tune for our next episode. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next week for our next episode of OHKO.